What's up, guys, in the works, and welcome to the Aftermath, not to be confused with the Dr. Dre album from the mid-90s, which, for whatever reason in the world, every time I see Aftermath, I always think of that album, because I used to listen to that a lot when I was in, middle school, because that's when Dr. Dre was cool, back before Beats by Dre was, the only thing he was really doing, but that's besides the point. We're using the M27, and this is by design, because a lot of you guys, I gotta admit, you guys were right in some cases. A lot of you guys got extremely upset when I did my L86 video and I said that I liked it better than the M27. So, because of that, I was like, all right, I'm going to give it a fair shake. I'm going to go back and start using the M27 next because I'm fresh out of getting my mastery tag with the L86. And I'm like, all right, let's compare this to the M27. Let's fool around with it a little bit. What do we really have here with the M27? And after a lot of use, I got to admit, you guys were right. I kind of underestimated how good the M27 is. Now, I haven't used it a ton. I think I just got close to 400 kills. So I've got about 100 kills left to go on my mastery tag. But that being said, I did enjoy using the M27 quite a bit. The fast reload on this thing is very, very advantageous. And especially on these Aftermath maps, I found this is a really awesome support loadout. And I was using it and I was like, man, this is a lot of fun. I actually do enjoy using this quite a bit. This thing's got pretty moderate recoil too, and that's a good thing because you want to be on target on these maps because a lot of people are going to be running M416s, a lot of people are going to be running M16s, and you want to compete with that. Now, do I like it better than my trusty L86? Now, I won't go that far. I still like the hip fire better on the L86. I still like the way that gun just handles overall. But I can see where some people would prefer the M27. Maybe I was a little bit brash when I said that the L86 blows it out of the water. I think it's probably pretty close when you factor in the fact that some people just want a faster reload. But I really just do enjoy that hip fire on the L86. But the M27 is definitely no slouch, especially when you get the extended mags. I just got extended mags recently, and it's actually pretty good. I mean, that's really what takes this thing into the next dimension. Some people like to run this with heavy barrel. I've been using it a lot with flash suppressor, which honestly, guys, is pretty useful. I mean, what I try to do is I try to avoid hip firing at all possible with this gun. I mean, I know I do it probably 5, 6, 7 kills in this video. But for the most part, I try to avoid that unless I catch someone off guard, and I know that hip fire is probably just the quickest way to take them out. But the flash suppressor really does take down some of the recoil on this thing and makes it just an absolute laser beam. And this has been a pretty awesome loadout. Now, I've been trying to use some of the different attachments. I'm trying not to be boring and just use foregrip, heavy barrel, extended mags with, bipod on an LMG. Trying to branch out a little bit, show you the usefulness of some of these attachments that maybe don't get used so much. And I definitely think the flash suppressor is a very viable option on the M27. You do have to give up some stuff for it though. Most notably, the extended mags. I think a lot of people unlock extended mags on these belt-fed LMGs and they instantly default to that. And that's a pretty typical reaction. And it's logical because you want more ammo in your LMG. I mean, that just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? LMGs, you want them to have a lot of ammo. But I think on weapons like the M27, which is a glorified assault rifle, you kind of want to think about whether or not extended mags is really going to benefit you that much. I mean, in some scenarios, it might be better to have a heavy barrel on it because you'll be more accurate. In other scenarios, it might be more, advantageous to just run flash suppressor like you see me doing here. I find that, in most situations, I can reload quick enough with the M27 that I can default to having the flash suppressor, to having lower recoil. And I think that's a lot more, you get more advantages from having the flash suppressor on this than you might with the extended mags. Is extended mags a very awesome option? Absolutely. When I think about it, I was like, man, extended mags on this thing would be absolutely nuts. And I tried it out and I was like, man, I think I want to go back to the flash suppressor because I just find that it makes this thing an absolute laser beam. It does hurt your hip fire though. That's one of the big downsides to it. But I find when you have it on there, you're able to put out longer bursts. You're able to put out steady, rounds downrange. You notice there when I was firing on the MCOM, I wasn't really letting off the trigger a ton. Sometimes I'll go 6 or 7 bursts. Rounds per burst, that is. Sometimes I'll go up to 10 before I let off the trigger. Heck, sometimes I'll just hold my finger down. Now, that's not the smartest strategy. You really have to decide for you whether or not the situation calls for something like that. But with the flash suppressor, your cone gets a lot tighter. I find that, sustained fire with the M27 with the flash suppressor makes more sense than sustained fire with extended mags. And I mean, that's going to take some experimenting to find out what really works for your style of play. Oftentimes I'll have bipod on by default just because that makes the most sense. Because if you find an area where you can lock it down, you can bipod down with flash suppressor, you're going to have pretty much zero deviation. I mean, you're just going to have a bullet laser beam. You're going to have a lead hose, as some people like to call it. So even though you do trade off the extended mags, you've got to know that this flash suppressor gives you so many different, it opens up so many different windows for you. I mean, look at how quickly I'm killing people at longer ranges. A lot of people, when they think of like an LMG when firing from the shoulder, they don't think of fast kill time just because it is always going to be bouncing around all over the place. So was I wrong when I kind of dismissed the M27 and said, hey, the L86 is so much better? Yeah, I gotta admit, guys, I went back and revisited them. It had been a while since we've done the showdown, almost close to a year, like 8 months or something like that. And I really did some comparing, kind of some soul searching on some weapons. That's kind of goofy sounding, but yeah, I tested them out and they're pretty comparable. I still like the L86 hip fire a little bit better, but I think when you put the flash suppressor on the M27, this thing is just, it's hard to compete with this thing. I mean, this thing is pretty good. It really opens up a lot of different play styles for the support class, and I like playing support. I like being the guy that can be like, hey, you're out of ammo, bro? I got you. I'm not the scumbag ammo guy who just doesn't give any out. That's always been one of my pet peeves. I'm always making sure I'm throwing down ammo crates so that people can resupply and stuff like that. So I do enjoy playing support, and it's nice to have a weapon like the M27 to play support with. But I'm going to leave you guys with a little bonus clip here with some C4, throwing it down on top of the MCOM, and boom, nice little 4-piece to defend the MCOM from all the bad guys. And we end up winning this game because of that. So pretty nice little play there to end it. I thought I would just tack that on because this did happen at the end of the video. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this. Try out the flash suppressor. If it works for your style, it definitely has some advantages. It is going to hide some of that muzzle flash, which is the idea behind it. Going to reduce the recoil a little bit. But there's a lot of things you can do with it. But if you missed my past videos, here's a chance to catch up. And have a good weekend. Peace.